we decided to remove the origin story and the flow into the game with the intention to get the player playing faster and create their own goblin story in their village. We didn't, throughout the years, get a lot of positive feedback on that section of the game, and so we felt it was important that players just get to building their own village, creating their own origin story, creating their own fantasy, instead of us forcing this very limited set of options to create try and create a world building that we had in mind. Even though some players definitely liked that narrative approach, we didn't feel like that was core to a city builder, a colony, the fantasy of being a goblin king. And so we wanted to get you to start that journey sooner and faster. There's still opportunity for that narrative and those things in story moments, and we've kept the things that we felt were more impactful and important, and we'd like to strengthen those possibly in the future. But we definitely wanted the player to get on with their journey of managing a goblin tribe. From the very first inception of the game, there was this idea of raiding. Goblins need to go raid to collect resources. They're not really good at. We don't have farming, for example. They're not good at being self-sustainable. They go raid, and this is why they become the bad guys, because they're just trying to survive. And so raiding was always very core and a core pillar for the game. However, the trek system that we had, we felt like it diluted what the intention was. And because it was so broad and it had so many parts to it, plus a 3D map with traveling and navigation and generating a world map, it was so many things, and our team is quite small. And we felt we never delivered a really good or really polished version of that, because it was so widespread and there were so many parts to it and balancing all of that. So we went back to our core pillars, and what is the important thing is actually raiding. And so we streamlined it down to something that is much more understandable, much more interesting and deeper for sending out raids, and being much more focused, which is a big theme for this entire release, is to be a lot more focused, a lot more intentional about the core design philosophies of the game, and trying to deliver that player fantasy of being a goblin tribe. Yeah, that was the driving force behind that big change. And yeah, we of course when you cut things, you lose some stuff that you also like about features, but we feel overall that this was a good a change and keeps the game a lot more focused. We decided to remove the sleep mechanic. It's a very difficult decision to make on a systems level, because it's sort of very much part of the metaphor and the theme. But one of the biggest feedbacks was frustration from players. Goblins not doing what they're supposed to do and not getting to the work. And we're actually balancing a lot of downtime elements. The goblins being lazy, the goblins going to eat, the goblins going to do other things, and then sleeping on top of that, which doesn't achieve anything else. We felt like, well, when they take their break, when they eat, that's their downtime. That's when they're resting or whatever. I think that still keeps the metaphor alive, the simulation. But by trying to keep it too much like a simulation where they do sleep and they have all these things, it creates far too much friction in the city builder part of the game, where it can become unplayable or very difficult. If we kept sleep, we would have had to cut other things that are downtime. And ultimately, as a player, when you've got a big village with lots of goblins, you want that system to function. You want the economy to flow. You want the resources to be made. And just having that sleep didn't really achieve a lot other than making it a more accurate simulation. And goblins should be working. You're the Goblin King. You should put them to work. And so we felt like this was a good place to maybe again cut and streamline and stay focused with what the intention is of the game, which is ultimately it's a city builder and a colony sim. And you don't want to get frustrated so much. We've got many other frustration mechanics that the goblins are chaotic and they do other things and they cause trouble. But when they sleep, it's just frustrating for the player. And so we felt like this is a sacrifice we could make. There might be some concerns over making the game more streamlined and making that it'll affect the pacing of the game. All of these features that we've been talking about and the improvements we've made have been to create a better core experience. It's not made the game more action-packed or faster. It just gets you into the experience quicker. And then the player still has the options of different scenarios. So there's, for example, still the builder mode where the threats are turned down and you can still take your time and just build a cozy village. Or if you're looking for more of a challenge where everything is ramped up and it's much more chaotic and crazy, then you still have that opportunity by selecting the scenario you want to play in the beginning through those features. But the core experience, we've really tried to stay focused on that, and that hasn't changed. You're still building a village, trying to manage these chaotic, crazy little goblins.